June and her ex-husband. So this is really a connection here that we still are all united through. Wherever the strings go, we're still connected somehow. So I wrote a little thing about my mom. Maybe not.
Buck up, Becky. Come on.
This is Julie, my daughter.
Okay. It says June grew up in Toledo, Ohio, the youngest of 5 siblings. Her mother was Nellie and her father Claire. She spent special time with her mom when her brothers went off to war. My mom, June, was the last of her generation in our clan, both here and across the United States. June and her husband migrated to Southern California in 1954. My dad went first to find a job and a place to live. My mom followed shortly. Do you need a tissue, Mommy?
Okay.
Okay. Let's see where we were. My dad went first to find a job and a place to live. My mom followed shortly after traveling across country with 3 children under 5, John, Becky, and Michael, and 8 months pregnant with Tony. She was a homemaker until Tony was 11. She worked in retail sales until she found her niche in the grocery business. She set a high standard. June was involved with retail clerks union activities and was an active participant in many strike situations. June made several adventurous trips to Alaska to visit friends. One time, while she was on a whitewater rafting trip and was thrown out of the raft and broke her nose when she came up underneath the raft. Her last 12 years in California were spent working in Hollywood, right near the famous Hollywood sign. She had acquaintances of many famous TV and movie personalities. She attended cast parties and gatherings with the Hollywood elite. June retired in 1967, and after the horrible 6.7 Northridge, California earthquake, she moved to Tacoma to live with Becky for 16 years. At first, June made 3-month trips during the summer to Toledo, Ohio to visit family and friends. She was party girl Aunt June. She also spent winters in West Palm Beach, Florida, visiting her best friend and her brother Chuck and his wife. As she grew older, her trips became shorter and she spent more time in Tacoma. Eventually, long-distance traveling became too difficult due to health issues. Local trips to Oregon became her travel. She loved visiting her family and her grandchildren there. 6 years ago, Mom moved to Bridgeport Place Assisted Living. It became her community. Giving up her independence was hard. She was used to going where she wanted, when she wanted, and doing what she wanted to do. She was used to driving and was sad when she had to give it up because of her health. Her mind was sharp and her personality was strong. She always tried to do things her way. She settled into Bridgeport Place life. She was friendly and would take new residents under her wing. She always tried to remember names and say hello. She participated in activities and especially liked bingo and cards. She became a volunteer and helped the activities directors any way she could. Mom interacted with both staff and residents, calling many her friends. She did enjoy the Bridgeport community closeness. There are special people there, both staff and residents, that she felt in her heart. You know who you are. Here are some things Mom didn't like. I thought it would be longer than this.
Do we have time for this?
Okay. Being late. People who gush. Coconut. Bad table manners. Overcooked liver. False laughter. The dentist. Band-Aids. Owing money. And giving up her independence.
Short list.
Here are things Mom loved. Babies and Christmas lights. Bingo and blackjack. Flowers and ice cream with chocolate syrup. Just the ice cream, not the flowers, right?
Right.
Okay. Phone calls and pictures of family. Wheel of Fortune and Corn on the Cob. Sandra Bullock and chick flicks. Ice skating and Frank Sinatra. Ichiro and the Mariners. The Color Pink and Dogs and Puppies. The casino and smelling cigarette smoke. Going out to lunch and Klondike bars. Obama and Hillary and Chihuly Glass. She loved the view from her room in the changing seasons. She loved grandchildren and great-grandchildren and family. She loved son John and all the phone calls and pictures of him and his family in California and of hope. She loved son Michael and the surprise visits with the special time they got to spend together. She loved daughter Tony and her singing and music. And she loved me. My mom did soften as the years went by. She learned to find an easy smile and be happy. She got to be more pleasant and fun to be around. My mom, June, was I've already wanted to talk to her so many times. It's hard to believe she's not here. She touched many in so many different ways. What am I going to do with my Tuesdays? My mom was a strong-willed woman. She passed with the dignity she had in life, and she did it her way.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Becky and Julie.
I like the casino too, but don't tell anybody.
Did you say that for the video? Show it in church on Sunday.
Oh, no. All right. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Tony, and I'm June's daughter. And that was wonderful. That was a wonderful tribute. And my mom and I had kind of a rocky relationship, but it all went away during the last week of her life. And I think that I hear so many people say, oh, I wish I'd been able to see my dad or make up with my aunt. Or, well, I got to do that, and everything that my mom and I needed to say to each other, we said during that week. And how can you be joy-filled in a ICU room plugged up to monitors and machines and watching that? Well, for me it was joyful because my mom was there. That was the real mom that I knew and loved. And she was absolutely amazing. And thank you all for coming. She would love this. She would love it.
Hi friends,
Hello.
I'm Michael Oxman. I'm June's son. So this has been really good for me. Saying goodbye and grieving and all that has been an intellectual exercise through my whole life. I had my mother until I was 64 years old. How many people's mother lasted until they were 64? So, it's really interesting to watch how we change from mother, son to friends. And we would sit around and just talk about nothing. We talk about TV, we would talk about politics, we would talk about, what we had for lunch and what we did the other day, and who we ran into, who we didn't like, who we liked. So that is a really good place to be. We had nothing to do except just sit and talk. Maybe 5 years ago when June first came to Bridgeport Place, I would see my role as getting her out to lunch, let's go shopping, let's go to the museum. We had special occasions. We would go to the potluck buffet at the La Quinta for Easter. We would go to Mother's Day brunch. We would go to the Museum of Glass, watch them blow glass. But lately, it's just been being friends. So she had a lot to say. I have a lot to say, as you can tell. So it's good for us to be able to share the things that make us high, make us low, the things that excite us, or the things that cause us to be dejected about life. And to have a friend like that, I didn't think I was going to. I thought, my mother is the one that tells me to do stuff that I don't want to do and makes me do it, and who I resent because I want my freedom. Do your homework. I didn't want to do my homework. And I was living at home, and as a teenager, I dropped out of college. It wasn't a fun, happy home right then, so I left. And so really we weren't close for a long time because I didn't want to do the things that I knew I had to do. And actually, it ended up being okay. I had a good life. I had kids to bring her, great-grandkids to bring her. She loves seeing the new generations coming along and knowing that she prepared me to prepare my kids, to prepare their kids for the world. So here we are, we're in the world. We're doing fine, Mom. We'll be just fine. And then I was really glad that you wrote the history, because when I look at these photos and the hundreds of other photos that we reviewed this month, our family is kind of a photography family, and our lives are captured in those photos. But more specifically, it's the people that we were with, that we posed for photos with, that are here today with us. And June was the matriarch of our family. She was the one that knew who everybody in the photos were. Well, who's that, Mom? Oh, well, that's Aunt Leila Bell. Well, I never met Aunt Leila. Well, I did. I met her. I was a baby. But, I was the kid that was 1 year old in 1954 when we moved from Ohio to California. So June left her world behind. She was born in Toledo, Ohio. And then when she was 30, she moved out and only went back for Toledo Mud Hens baseball games. And there's a couple of neat pictures up here of us at the baseball game. Oh, we had fun there. So you have the people that you are close to. You have the people that your Aunt Leila Bell was the one who could point out everybody else in the photos. You know, when you're there's a picture of here with my great grandmother holding me as a baby, with my grandmother and my mom, all four of us generations. So those are precious gifts that my mom gave me. Yeah, and I know that you have those people that love you. So just love them back. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Get out of here.
So good afternoon. My name is Chase Potter. I'm June's grandson. And I have Asperger's syndrome, which is a mild form of autism. And I think that created a very, very special bond between my grandmother and the other members of my family. And then when my family and I were in June's hospital room, and we were all there when she literally took her last breath, and then seeing the rest of my family breathe when that happened, and that helped me understand that that it's okay to grieve. If that's what makes us human, it's part of our emotions. And though there are some people out there who would rather hold their emotions back because they think they're the biggest, baddest on the planet. But watching my family grieve, made me realize that's not true. It's okay to show your emotions when a family tragedy like this happens. So thank you.
Thank you, Chase. Anybody else want to say anything? We're all close, we're all friends. If you got a crazy story or something silly about my mom you want to say, now would be the time. Now would be the time.
And it doesn't have to be long, it doesn't have to be a speech.
I just know that the longer she's gone, the more I miss her.
Yeah.
Really, I don't know. The first time I really got to know June, I mean, I've been living here for 4 years, and so June was just about longer than me. But anyway, the first time I really got to know her is when we went as dates together to the senior prom one year. And And so then we had a really good time there, and then I've gotten to know her, and you're right, she's a little bit hard to sometimes be with, but I just miss her so much, and we kind of did things together, we shared in common bingo, and that was important. And it was her baby was bingo, that was her thing. And, but I do miss her. I can't say anymore. It's funny how I feel about that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Jordan. I'm a great-grandson, and I have known only the June that I knew when I was born and lived down the street from her and went over and ate all sorts of meals and learned all of my table manners and don't put your elbows on the table and all the teacups that she would have on the walls that she would switch around to see if I could find them.
In the middle of the center, right?
I may not have known her when she was younger, but I definitely knew her when she was my great grandma. So, and I got to grow up and I got to see her. At the beginning, she was a little bit harder, but as she got older, I noticed that she started to mellow out and it was a lot nicer to be around. Because I didn't know her for as long as the other people have, I feel like it doesn't hit me as hard as it hits them. But I feel for them, which makes me feel it more. I don't know if that makes sense. It makes sense to me. But I actually want to do something special for not only for my great-grandma, my Grammy, but also for everyone who's here and who's still around. I think it's important to know that I just think it's important to know that we will keep going and we'll just remember all of the good times that we had. So I actually want to sing a song for you guys. Forgive me, I might be a little bit loud for this small room, I'm sorry.